John?
Point taken. John Roberts, thank you. Hillary Clinton's campaign manager is telling supporters she could lock up the nomination in a few days. But Bernie Sanders says it's not over until the convention, and his supporters say California could change everything. Clinton is about 70 delegates away from clinching, so she could wrap it up on Tuesday with a big win in New Jersey before the polls even close in California. But Sanders says if he wins the biggest primary prize, it'll help make his case that the superdelegates should switch sides. Polls show the race in California is neck and neck, so voters will be seeing a lot of both candidates as we head into the final weekend before the primary. Team Fox coverage continues now with Jennifer Griffin live in Culver City, where Clinton held an earlier event today. So, Jennifer, give us the atmosphere. What was it like?
Well, Hillary Clinton just left the gymnasium here. The songs that have been playing all morning just ended. In fact, one of the last ones played was a Florence and the Machine song called "The Dog Days of Summer Are Over." Not quite for Hillary Clinton as she continues neck and neck with Bernie Sanders going into Tuesday. It was a star-studded affair. A lot of female Hollywood stars spoke on her behalf, including Mary Steenburgen, Sally Field, Elizabeth Banks, among others. They had a lot of jokes at Donald Trump's expense, women saying they don't want to be part of a reality TV show. Clinton will need women not only to win California, but also the general election against Trump. She does not want women to sit this one out, which polls show they sometimes do when a campaign gets ugly. She repeated many of the attacks she made against Donald Trump yesterday.
I believe absolutely that he's not only unprepared to be president, he is temperamentally unfit to be president. He doesn't really have ideas. He just engages in rants and personal feuds and outright lies, something that our country cannot afford.
We talked to many women here, including Angela Arnold and her 5-year-old daughter, Rose. Angela left a 1-week-old baby at home to bring her daughter to hear Hillary Clinton speak.
I just think there's not enough female role models in the world, and this is one of the best female role models.
There are 548 delegates in the Democratic primary at stake on Tuesday. It's still not clear how they will divide Bernie Sanders, giving Clinton a real run for her money here in California. John.
So what about Team Clinton? Anybody saying they are worried about Sanders?
Well, they won't say it publicly, but privately, certainly they are concerned. We understand she will leave to head back east on Tuesday, where she hopes to cross the finish line in New Jersey. New Jersey also votes on Tuesday. She's about 70 delegates short, as you mentioned. The latest LA Times poll shows that she's only 1% ahead of Bernie Sanders in terms of all Democratic voters here in California. That spreads to about 10% if you look at likely Democratic voters. Independents will have a say, and Bernie Sanders has said earlier today that if there's a large turnout, he expects that he can win. But again, the polls, according to the polls, they're statistically tied. John?
Jennifer Griffin, thank you. Team Fox coverage continues. Mike Emanuel live in Fairfield, California. So, Mike, Bernie Sanders is facing more pressure to get out of this race, but he's not budging so far, is he?
John, you're absolutely right. Bernie Sanders is starting to get some questions about whether he is the one dividing the Democratic Party. We're seeing some heartburn as there are signs of Republicans starting to unite around Donald Trump, about Democrats needing to unite around Hillary Clinton. And bottom line, one reporter confronted Sanders saying there is zero evidence that Democratic superdelegates are switching to him.
There's zero evidence that superdelegates are starting to switch. So at some point, is this getting disingenuous?
I don't think it's. Do you think we should? I don't think it's disingenuous to say that the people of California have a right to determine who the Democratic nominee for president is, nor the people of New Jersey. Let the people speak.
Sanders described himself as an old-fashioned guy who believes that vigorous debate and democracy are good ideas. John?
And Sanders has a mission beyond California, right?
No question about that, John. Bernie Sanders is taking advantage of his moment in the political spotlight, trying to get his ideas on the Democratic Party platform. And he's also taken several opportunities this week in California to push Hillary Clinton on environmental issues.
I urge Secretary Clinton to be bolder. Of course she recognizes the reality of climate change, but I want her to join me in supporting a tax on carbon. I want her to change her views on the very important issue of fracking.
Sanders is also campaigning nonstop in California. You can see supporters lined up behind me for his rally here in Fairfield later. He's hoping a win in California will help him make the argument to those superdelegates that he is the stronger Democratic candidate heading into November. John?
Mike Emanuel. Thanks, Mike. More politics ahead with the anchor of Fox News Sunday, Chris Wallace. We'll break down Donald Trump's latest change of heart when it comes to Ted Cruz and the Republican governor of New Mexico. Also, handicapping the Hillary Clinton fight for California. What would it mean for her campaign if Bernie Sanders pulls off a big win? That's next. But first, an update on news that's been breaking within the last hour. Members of the military from Fort Carson, Colorado, stranded on Long's Peak in Rocky Mountain National Park. A helicopter evacuation effort scheduled to begin soon. We'll bring you there as this unfolds. Back to our top story, politics 2016. The Democrats duking it out in California. But Bernie Sanders says win or lose, he's going all the way to the convention. On the Republican side, Donald Trump is now playing nice when it comes to a pair of his one-time targets. New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez and the no longer lion Ted Cruz. Fox News Sunday anchor Chris Wallace joins us now. Some fence mending seems to be underway between Donald Trump and a couple of the people he has criticized pretty severely in the past.
Yeah, fence mending today. Who knows what will happen tomorrow? Look, the Cruz situation is different. They were in a fierce primary battle for months. They were giving it to each other. Lying Ted is awfully personal for a presidential campaign, but you can kind of explain it away in the heat of battle. The Martinez case in New Mexico is a little bit weirder, much weirder, as a matter of fact, because it was just last week. Here's Susana Martinez. She's a popular Hispanic female governor, Hispanic and female, two groups voting blocs that Trump is not doing very well with. He was the presumptive Republican nominee, and for some reason he chose last week to go after her and her performance as governor with the economy of New Mexico. She's also the head of the Republican Governors Association, so an awful lot of Republicans, including Trump supporters like Newt Gingrich, shaking their heads like, what on earth would he pick a fight with her on? And then, as you see, a few days later, a week later, he now says he wants to make nice to her. It'll be interesting to see whether Governor Martinez decides she's going to accept that.
Yeah, of her endorsement, he said, I'd like to have it. I respect her. I have always liked her. Obviously, John Roberts was just telling us when you're playing this kind of politics, it's nice to have more friends on your side, as many as possible. And clearly he wants to try to win over some of these skeptical Republicans. And Susana Martinez is obviously one of them.
Well, absolutely, which is why people were utterly shocked in the Republican camp, and as I say, even Trump supporters, when he decided to go after her last week. Now, she has been critical of him, and she did not go to the rally at which he spoke in New Mexico, saying that she was really busy with her schedule. He obviously perceived it as a snub, and as he likes to say, when he feels he's getting punched, he punches back even harder. But he learned the price of that punch this week, obviously, and that's why he's now trying to make nice to her. But, you know, when you get that personal with people, it's awfully hard for them to then turn on a dime just because you can and say, oh, okay, all's forgiven.
What about Paul Ryan? The Speaker of the House says he is voting for Donald Trump, but it wasn't exactly a rousing endorsement. He didn't say he will campaign on his behalf or anything like that.
No, exactly. And in fact, what he said, he couldn't have minimized it anymore. He didn't appear with Trump. He did it to his hometown newspaper in Wisconsin in an op-ed article in which he didn't even use the word endorse, although his office says he did endorse him. All he said is, I'm going to vote for him. And I think most importantly, he didn't subscribe in any way, shape, or form to the Trump agenda. He simply said that he believed that the best chance for getting the House GOP conservative agenda enacted in law was with Trump as president as opposed to Hillary Clinton. So that was the endorsement. I don't know that it matters so much. I don't think it's much of a positive for Trump, but it removes a negative, because as long as that was hanging out there, the question of whether or not the Republican leader here in Washington, here on Capitol Hill, as long as he was refusing to endorse Trump, that was going to be a nagging issue for both of them. Now that's done away with.
Chris Wallace, the anchor of Fox News Sunday. Chris, we'll see you then. Thank you. This weekend on Fox News Sunday, Chris will talk with John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chair. Also, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, a Donald Trump supporter. That's coming up this Sunday on your local Fox station. Check your TV listings. Tragedy at Fort Hood, Texas. A frantic search underway for soldiers in the Texas floodwaters. Some are dead, others still missing. And forecasters warn the rushing water is going to rise even more. A live report up next.
In recent years, this country's gone to hell, and the cracks getting bigger on the side of that Liberty Bell. Well, Clinton, Obama, and the Democratic crew sure did a number on me and you. It wasn't my vote, you can blame yourselves for that. But we got a chance to turn things around if you get your butt up off the ground and understand we're all gonna have to work. This big old country was built on sweat, and if we're gonna make it great again, you're gonna get wet. But the first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. And to hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, we'll all go, and the wall will get built by Mexico. But first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. He understands the working man, tells the truth that we can understand. If you don't like it, you can all just kiss our ass. Kiss our ass. He pays his own way, don't take no crap. Gonna bring back country, get rid of rap. And if nothing else, we can all thank Donald for that. Thank you, Donald. Vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. To hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, we'll all go, and the wall will get built by Mexico. But the first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Well, little Marco and Lion Ted, it's time to go home and crawl in bed. The campaign's over and the big fat ladies sing.
Now checking back on that search and rescue mission for 10 members of the U.S. military in Colorado. We believe these people are those military members. We've been watching them at the summit of Long's Peak in Rocky Mountain National Park for nearly an hour now. 10 of them left yesterday for some high-altitude climbing training. But apparently, according to the Denver Post, 2 of the members of this climbing party fell ill with altitude sickness, which can strike even healthy people and can, in some cases, be life-threatening. You're looking at the very summit of Long's Peak there, 14,259 feet in the air. They've just managed to land a helicopter up there at the summit, and we believe they will be extracting at least those 2 stricken climbers. Whether they can do that with the horsepower that chopper has available, we don't know. They might put one person on, take them down to the hospital in maybe Longmont or Boulder, Fort Collins, one of the nearby cities, and then come back for the other one. We don't know. This climbing party was not supposed to be out overnight, but because they're believed to be Special Forces soldiers from Fort Carson, Colorado, in Colorado Springs, about 100 miles, maybe 130 miles to the south. The rescue is underway. We will certainly let you know how it all goes. In the meantime, 5 soldiers are dead, 4 others missing after floodwaters swept away their truck during a training exercise at Fort Hood, Texas. Rescuers saved 3 other soldiers who went to the hospital and are doing okay. Crews have been searching for the missing soldiers by water, air, and land. A Fort Hood spokesperson says officials were closing roads throughout the Army post when the accident happened yesterday. Folks in other parts of Texas also dealing with dangerous flooding caused by days of heavy rain. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has declared a state of disaster in 31 counties there. Casey Stiegel, live in Richmond, Texas, just outside Houston. What are you seeing there, Casey?
John, frankly, it is water as far as the eye can see. And to give you a sense of how high it is in the spot where we are, look at this chain link fence, would you? That water is almost all the way up to the top. But if you follow me this way, I want to show you a little bit of good news, a sign of good news, because Lord knows we can use that at this point. Look right back there on that green house next to the banana tree just to the right. See the water level where it was? Well, it's going down ever so slightly. You can see where it was, and now you see where the level currently is. This is a very gradual process, by the way. Local officials tell us it could be weeks before this water totally recedes, because the Brazos River back there is still about 10 feet above major flood stage. The water rescues also continue in many areas across the state. We met up with Dorothy and Mike here, an elderly couple who had to be taken out of their home by boat because the water came in so quickly.
We've been here since '68 and we've never seen it this big. This is the first time we have to evacuate.
Many residents are staying with family members in the area. For people who have no place to go, there are shelters set up, and people are being taken in there, John.
And to the north of you, conditions have deteriorated as well?
Yeah, think of it this way. There are essentially three portions of Texas being impacted. The south part down here near Houston, then central Texas up near Austin, then north Texas up in Dallas-Fort Worth. And speaking of up there, watch this.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
Can you imagine? That was in Granbury, Texas, near Fort Worth. Amateur video capturing those two people escaping from their SUV just before it was almost too late. Tens of thousands of Texans have been impacted, and then when you add the 5 soldiers who have lost their lives from Fort Hood, that brings the total number of people to at least 11 who've lost their lives in the last week, John.
Doesn't take much water to wash those vehicles right off the roads. Casey Stiegel.
Not at all.
Thank you. Team Fox coverage continues. Chief Meteorologist Rick Reichmuth in the Extreme Weather Center. So, Rick, when will it end?
Not in the short term. It will end by, say, Monday, at least across a lot of Texas. For the most part, there's this upper level disturbance right here, continues to spin. It's not moving very quickly. Nothing has been able to kind of move it out of the area. West Texas, you're dry. And I will say the heaviest of the rain, instead of being here kind of over the Houston area, has moved a little bit farther towards the east now, in around parts of Louisiana. But we still have flooding going on, and flash flooding going on again along the Sabine River. We saw this months ago, just a few months ago, with some record-breaking flooding there. So a lot of areas dealing with it. This right here is at Brazos River that Casey was just talking about. And we've had flooding rains up across areas of the north, and all of that water has to drain in that watershed. And then we had the heavy rain. This doesn't show it as much because it was just over a week ago, but some areas about 20 inches of rain. So you see a lot of Texas under so much of that. This is going to finally move off towards the east a little bit, but it's going to take a while for this to happen. This is a future radar. Take a look at what happens. It starts to move to the east, but we have this front that develops here, and that is what is eventually going to push that in. Going towards Sunday morning, we still have the rain across East Texas, but by Sunday night, finally, it does move out of there. Now, the heaviest of the rain is going to be across Louisiana and towards Mississippi over the weekend, but you notice this area of East Texas, some spots maybe another 3 to 4 inches of rain, and that's why we are going to continue to see that threat for some additional flash flooding. John, I want to tell you, tropical season, hurricane season began on Wednesday. We had a tropical storm Bonnie that impacted us last weekend across the eastern coast of the U.S. Now we're going to start to watch a system here that's in across parts of the western Gulf, the western Caribbean here. Right now, not in the short term, we're not seeing this develop, but likely by maybe Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, this disturbance is going to be in the eastern Gulf, and we might see some tropical development out of this. Either way, I think we're going to see maybe some areas 7 or 8 inches of rain across Florida Sunday night through Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's going to cause flooding now across the areas of Florida that we're going to see this coming week. We'll continue to track it. Can't say if it's going to fully develop into a tropical system, but the moisture will certainly be in place and cause some problems.
Keep watching it. Rick Reichmuth. Yep. Thank you, Rick.
You bet.
Well, cameras catch an amazing rescue at sea. Wait till you hear how long a Navy vet lost at sea had to tread water. Also, schools across the nation are starting later in the morning, and they're doing it on doctors' recommendations.
And this is really based on the fact that we think our teenagers are not getting enough sleep.
Coming up, the Great American Science Project. Schools testing the theory that a better night's sleep means a better day for students.
In recent years, this country's gone to hell, and the cracks getting bigger on the side of that Liberty Bell. Well, Clinton, Obama, and the Democratic crew sure did a number on me and you. It wasn't my vote, you can blame yourselves for that. But we got a chance to turn things around if you get your butt up off the ground and understand we're all gonna have to work. This big old country was built on sweat, and if we're gonna make it great again, you're gonna get wet. But the first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. And to hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, we'll all go, and the wall will get built by Mexico. But first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. He understands the working man, tells the truth that we can understand. If you don't like it, you can all just kiss our ass. Kiss our ass. He pays his own way, don't take no crap. Gonna bring back country, get rid of rap. And if nothing else, we can all thank Donald for that. Thank you, Donald. Vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. To hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, we'll all go, and the wall will get built by Mexico. But the first thing first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Well, little Marco and Lion Ted, it's time to go home and crawl in bed. The campaign's over and the big fat ladies sing.
Well, we are learning more about the Blue Angels pilot who died when his jet crashed during a training flight near Nashville yesterday. Relatives of Marine Captain Jeff Coos say he wanted to fly ever since he was a kid. He's from Durango, Colorado, and was married with 2 children. Take a listen to reaction from witnesses just moments after that crash.
No, 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 God bless his soul.
Well, the Navy reports it is investigating that crash. And meantime, the Coast Guard rescued a former Navy pilot who fell out of his boat and spent 20 hours treading water in the Gulf of Mexico. Video shows a rescuer jumping in the water miles off the coast of Florida. The man says his Navy training helped him to survive. And the 7-year-old boy whose parents left him in the woods to teach him a lesson, he has turned up safe. He'd been missing for nearly a week in Japan, and officials say he took shelter in a military hut. The news continues with John Scott right after this.
God, he's getting old. Now let's vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Yeah, to hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, baby, we'll all go, and the wall's getting built by Mexico. Well, first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Jesus says, vote for Trump.
because the murderer shot him a disrespectful smile in court. Happened in Cleveland yesterday. A judge had just sentenced Michael Madison to death for killing the man's 18-year-old daughter and 2 other women. The father's name is Van Terry. Prosecutors say Madison mutilated Terry's daughter, and the father says he was thinking of her when he lunged at the killer.
I was thinking about how you mutilated my child, how you cut my child. And you did all this while my child was still alive, so you caused my baby great pain.
Officers dragged him out of court after he jumped the table. Prosecutors say they're reviewing the situation. Terry says he did what he thought was right and is okay with facing charges if officials decide to file them. A woman in Idaho sped up her SUV as it plunged off a cliff yesterday, killing her and her 3 kids. That's according to a witness who says the mother did not try to brake or slow down before going over the edge. It happened at a reservoir just outside Boise. Sheriff's officials say the SUV fell about 70 feet and ended up about 40 feet underwater. Investigators say they'll look at the wreckage to see if there were any mechanical problems, and that they'll also look into whether this was a medical emergency or an intentional act. Deputies say they found no skid or brake marks where the SUV went off the cliff. Seems May was not a good month for people trying to find work, according to the Labor Department. Employers hired just 38,000 people last month. That is the fewest in more than 5 years. At the same time, the unemployment rate dropped from 5% to 4.7%. That's the lowest it's been since 2007. You'd think that would be a good thing, but the department reports nearly 500,000 people simply stopped looking for work, so officials do not count them. The Fox Business Network's Peter Barnes live in Washington.
May, and with the Labor Department revising job creation for March and April down by 59,000 jobs, economists at Barclays Bank are getting worried. They said that historically, when monthly job growth starts to drop consistently like this, the risk of recession grows. Job creation was weak across the economy last month. Sectors cutting jobs included construction, down 15,000, manufacturing, down 10,000. Information services lost 34,000 positions because of that strike at Verizon, which has been since settled. Sectors adding jobs included education and health services, up 67,000, retailing up about 11,000, and professional services up about 10,000. John?
So what are the candidates saying about this report?
Well, the jobs report immediately fired up the political sector. Donald Trump said it was a terrible bombshell report. No comment yet from Hillary Clinton, but a former top economist for President Obama said it could hurt her.
If the economy is slowing, that will be tougher for Hillary Clinton because it'll be tougher for whoever the incumbent party is.
Now, other economists said the report also makes it less likely that the Federal Reserve will raise short-term interest rates again anytime soon. John?
Peter Barnes. Peter, thank you. Lots of students are no doubt staying up late these days, studying for their final exams, but even without that added pressure, doctors say there's growing evidence that middle school and high schools across the U.S. start too early for kids to get the sleep they need. So, as Shepard Smith reports, some schools are now starting classes a little later.
Mainly the impact we've seen is that the morning struggle to get the kids out the door and into school on time has been a lot less stressful.
We saw evidence of that at Dobbs Ferry High School in New York, where administrators this year pushed back the first bell. Students say an extra half hour of sleep has helped them remain focused.
The later bell schedules really do help that. I'm more awake, everyone's more awake, so it really does get more out of the classroom.
One parent, a school board member, says the idea came down to common sense.
Our start time, which was 7:38, was awfully early. And in the last 3-4 years, more and more literature was starting to come out talking about adolescent sleep schedules.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention published a report showing the average start time for public high schools in the U.S. is 7:59 a.m. But the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends starting classes no earlier than 8:30, suggesting the natural sleep cycles of teenagers make it difficult for them to fall asleep before 11 at night.
They're overscheduled, they stay up too late studying, and unfortunately they have to get up quite early to go to school.
Doctors say teens should ideally get about 9 hours of sleep. But a 2006 survey found that on school nights, only 35% of middle schoolers and 9% of high schoolers actually slept for that long.
We do know that with schools whose start times are later, that the kids do better. Teachers have already stated through numbers of different studies that their kids pay better attention, homework gets turned in, and we do know from families that their kids seem less depressed and less anxious.
Clearly, this is an idea whose time has come.
New Jersey's Department of Education is considering whether to require schools to start after 8:30 in the morning. But when a politician who's pushing for the plan defended his idea at a recent public hearing, no one showed up.
When there's public meetings, mostly it's people coming out complaining about things. There's nobody here to complain. So for me, that's good right now.
New Jersey would be following a national trend. According to a group advocating later start times, hundreds of schools have delayed the start of classes in recent years, and students are giving the concept high marks.
It's going well. I hope they keep it. I hope other schools do it. It's very helpful.
For Fox News, I'm Shepard Smith reporting.
There have been reports of logistical issues among districts pushing back their schedules. Coordinating buses and after-school activities can be tricky. That school in New York shortened each class by a couple of minutes, but is still ending the day 15 minutes later than before. The former cop just convicted of trying to hire a hitman is now losing his pension. So why has he been raking in the money for years when he was already convicted of killing his wife? Plus, a potential breakthrough for stroke survivors so stunning, doctors say it had a wheelchair-bound victim walking again. That's ahead. ex-cop in Illinois who keeps losing his wife is now losing his pension. The pension board for the Bolingbrook Police Department outside Chicago voted unanimously Wednesday to cut off Drew Peterson's payouts, which amounted to nearly $80,000 a year. It comes after a jury convicted him in a murder-for-hire case. He's already been behind bars for nearly 4 years for killing his third wife. So that means he's been getting his pension the entire time he's been in prison for murder. Peterson's lawyers say the money has gone to support the 2 children he had with his fourth wife, Stacy Peterson, who went missing in 2007. Muhammad Ali's current condition is more serious than the previous problems that put him in the hospital. That's what 2 people familiar with the boxing legend's health told the Associated Press. They say the 74-year-old is fighting respiratory issues in a hospital in the Phoenix area. On top of that, he's also got Parkinson's disease, which apparently is making things more complicated. A spokesman says the former heavyweight champ is in fair condition and that the expectations are for a brief stay. Ali has been in the hospital several times in the past years, including last year when doctors treated him for a severe urinary tract infection. Researchers from Stanford University say they injected stem cells directly into the brains of 18 stroke victims, and the results stunned them. The procedure reportedly restored major motor function in 7 of those patients, even helping one of them in a wheelchair walk again. Scientists say the experimental treatment could potentially help doctors better understand traumatic brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, and even Alzheimer's disease. Let's bring in Dr. Roshini Raj. She is an assistant professor of medicine at NYU's Langone Medical Center. This is very exciting news. The weird thing is that doctors tried this procedure, but they don't know why it seems to have worked in almost half the patients.
Exactly. It's quite remarkable, the results, but as you said, they're not exactly clear about the mechanism of it. They did inject stem cells directly into the brains of stroke patients, and they found that many of them did recover motor function, but interestingly, they don't think that the stem cells actually turned into neurons or brain cells, but that they somehow activated the brain to repair or regenerate itself, which is a really novel concept. We used to think once you have brain damage, game over, you can't really repair or regenerate brain tissue, and now we're seeing that in some cases, potentially you can.
And, you know, here's some of the proof. There's video of a woman who had been basically locked into a wheelchair after a stroke, and she's up and walking again after this treatment.
Absolutely. And what's particularly striking is that some of these patients had their stroke 3 or even 5 years before this study was conducted. So you know, we really used to think years out you're not going to really get recovery, and here we saw people walking who had never been able to walk since the stroke. So really remarkable
Right,
results.
because typically you have about 6 months after a stroke to see major improvement in motor function, and if you don't get it, then
you're probably not going to. Right, you see a sort of plateau after that time. You don't really continue many treatments after that time because you don't expect to see really much improvement.
All right, now stem cells. These are stem cells that were injected directly into the brain. Where do they come from?
So these stem cells came from adult donors from their bone marrow. So this is nothing to do with embryos or umbilical cord blood. This is actually from adults from their bone marrow who decided to donate for this research purpose.
And they're going to be trying a bigger, you know, experiment with more patients.
More subjects, about 150 subjects will be in the newer trial. They hope to get results in the next 2 years. This is definitely promising. But again, 7, you know, it's a very small number, so we'd definitely like to see it replicated with larger numbers.
A small number, but huge improvement in motor function for some of those people. Witness the woman who had been in the wheelchair.
Yeah, so this is actually really causing a lot of stir in the neuroscience world, and it's very exciting, and hopefully it can be, you know, replicated in larger studies.
And if it could help with some of those other diseases, I mean, there are 7 million stroke victims in the country right now. Alzheimer's, I imagine, even greater number than that.
Exactly. Any condition where the brain has been injured or neurons, brain cells have died, if this could potentially help, you could be helping millions, tens of millions of people.
Roshini Raj, Dr. Roshini Raj, thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
news. The site of America's bloodiest battle during the Iraq War is now the center of what's expected to be one of the biggest fights ever waged against the Islamic State. Iraqi forces say they now have the areas surrounding Fallujah under control, but there's a big problem. Thousands of innocent people are still inside the city. Details next. Yet thousands of innocent people are still holed up inside. Anti-Iraqi forces say it's slowing down their attempts to advance on the key city, preventing the U.S.-led coalition from carrying out more airstrikes. Hundreds of families have managed to get out. Fallujah has been under control of the terrorists for more than 2 years now. Remember, back in 2004, this city was the site of the bloodiest battle of the Iraq War, where more than 80 American troops died. Meantime, we're learning more about some of the savage acts through which ISIS terrorists put their victims. In an interview with an activist group, a woman who says she escaped from Mosul claims the militants used to marry and divorce women several times a night. It was in order to justify multiple rapes. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge with the news live from Washington. Catherine.
Well, thank you, John. Fox News reviewed a taped interview and transcript that were provided by the advocacy group in defense of Christians. Its president, Tawfiq Baklini, said the woman, who appears to be in her 30s, was sobbing and shaking throughout their discussion.
Or when, if
so she wanted her
your
story
candidate decides to exit the race.
So
how has it been for you? Where are you kind of at this stage of the campaign?
To do what's best
his run
to
was
stop
sort of
this genocide.
After the terror group took control of Mosul in 2014, the woman said her husband disappeared. She left her 2 older children in the care of neighbors and, along with her new baby, began searching for him. That is when she was identified as Christian and repeatedly abused.
Even so, they would swap us. If he got bored of me, he would trade me for another girl. What wedding? For them, it was a wedding, but what kind of wedding is this?
The woman, whose identity is being shielded for her own protection, said that she was, quote, married or divorced as many as 8 or 9 times just in one evening to justify the rapes, John.
And we're learning more about how ISIS justifies selling women and kids.
Well, that's right. U.S. government officials have consistently said that ISIS believes slavery is sanctioned by their interpretation of Sharia law, and minorities are singled out. In another section of the interview, the woman describes her captors' sick fascination with her religion.
I was with them for this while, and they had me whenever they would desire it. Especially this one, Farouk, who was obsessed with me, and he would say, "I like the people of Jesus."
And this flyer appears to be an ISIS price list for slaves. Fox News could not independently verify its authenticity, but we asked outside experts to review it, and they said they found it consistent with other flyers distributed on the ground by ISIS and through social media. The highest prices are demanded for the youngest victims. In this case, children between the ages of 1 and 9, and they're listed under subject lines such as merchandise and spoils of war. On the Iraqi woman who escaped from Mosul, she said that the fighters had converted the schools in that city to what they called schools of death, which is where these rape camps were established, John.
Stomach-turning stuff.
It is, I'm sorry to say.
Thank you. We'll be right back. lives a man who wants nothing but to eat Chipotle every day for a year. This is Devin Cunningham. He says so far he's eaten Chipotle every day for the past 316 days, and he plans to keep going until he passes the 1-year mark. He says he's doing it to show people
Yeah, we got the best chat, the best tunes, the best troll-slaying mods. Like and subscribe for updates and alerts whenever the gentleman's on.
you very much, everybody. I think it's 104 degrees. Is everybody okay? If anyone is not feeling well, come up here. We have plenty of water to share. This is hot out. So I want to thank you all. You know, they just got some very bad news. The worst jobs report in 6.5 years, okay? I don't know if you saw that. 38,000 jobs. It's going the wrong way, folks. They've been kidding themselves. They're playing games. It's going the wrong way. They had a labor participation rate. It fell to 62.6, which is one of the worst in many, many, many years. So we know what we're doing. We're going to turn it around. We're going to make America great again. We're going to bring back our jobs. We're going to bring back our jobs. And we're going to bring them back fast. So you remember the 1237, right? And they said, oh, I don't think Trump will reach it, maybe at the convention. And I said, don't worry about it. We're going to reach it easy. Who would have thought we reached it long before Hillary Clinton? She can't close the deal. She can't close it. She's working hard, and she can't close it with Bernie. Good old Bernie. We love our Bernie, don't we? I'll tell you what a mess she's in. And the people that are with Bernie, they don't want to vote for her. They want to vote for Trump, a lot of them. You saw that poll just came out. Because whether you like Bernie or not, he's right about one thing. Trade is a disaster for our country. That's the one thing he's right about. The trade deals that our country makes are an absolute disaster. Hello, look at all those people over there. This is crazy. Wow. You know, I wish these camera guys would spin it around. They're so dishonest. It's unbelievable. To see in 100 and something degrees out here, to have this number of people. Are we happy to be here? And by the way, on June 7th, you have to get out and vote because, you know, we're setting records. We've already broken the record. In all fairness, we've already broken it. Oh, I like that cap. He's got the same cap I have on. Do you like that, right? Hunters. The NRA, this is the NRA. They gave me the endorsement. You saw that. They're great, great people. Wayne and Chris, they're great people. They gave me the earliest endorsement I think they've ever given to anybody. National Rifle Association, folks. We're going to protect your Second Amendment, believe me. We will protect your Second Amendment. I love you, too. Nice guy over there. Big, strong guy. I love you, Trump, but I love you. So, look, we've had an incredible period of time. June 16th we started, and it's been an amazing ride. All over the world they're talking about it. It's a movement. They say they've never seen anything like it. The biggest crowds of anybody by far. The other night, Bernie had 3,000. I had 17,000. And they said, think of it. And they talked about me. Donald Trump made a speech. Blah, blah, blah. Never mentioned the number of people. Then they talked about Bernie. Bernie Sanders had a massive crowd of 3,000 people. It's really, I'll tell you what, the press is so biased against us. But you know what? I really believe we have the numbers. I really believe it. You know, they used to call it the silent majority. Now I think we're going to call it the noisy majority. We're not silent anymore, folks. We're not silent. And did you see last night in San Jose, we had an amazing packed crowd. It was packed. And it was incredible. And they had the basketball game on, which is, you know, that area, the San Francisco game. And we had some crowd. It was absolutely incredible. And it was a love fest inside, no problems whatsoever. We went on, we spoke, we had a good time for an hour. I said, I want to get you guys out to see, so you can see the San Francisco team, right? The Warriors, who won. But I wanted to get them out. They said, no, we don't want to get out. We want to stay. We had just an amazing time. And that was it. And we wrapped up. Everybody was cheering like crazy for forever. Then they walk out and they get accosted by a bunch of thugs burning the American flag. Burning the American flag. And you know what they are? They're thugs. Yeah, build that wall. You're right. We're going to build the wall, folks. Don't even think about it. You know, a lot of people, you saw that I've got a lot of endorsements. And Paul Ryan just endorsed me, and Mitch McConnell, and everybody. But we got a lot of support. We have tremendous support. I mean, when you think that, you know, in the history of our party, more votes than anybody that's ever done this before, think of it. You know, think. More than Dwight Eisenhower. I mean, he won the Second World War. More than Ronald Reagan, who we all love. More than anybody. And we got a lot of endorsements. And we're very popular now within the party. And polls are coming out showing we're doing very well and winning in some cases. The Fox poll came out a few days ago, and we're winning by 3 points. We're winning. We're beating Hillary. Did you see? Did you see that phony speech she made yesterday? Every word. And people think, oh, did she speak well? She's got a teleprompter here and there. You ever notice? Bum, 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 bum. Donald Trump is a bad man. Donald Trump has a bad tone. We need a tough tone in this country, folks. We don't need this kind of stuff anymore. She said, I don't like the tone of Donald Trump. That was a while ago. She said, I don't like his tone. And I'm saying to myself, they're chopping off people's heads. They're killing us at the border. Our country's a mess. We have the worst jobs report in 6.5 years. Our labor participation rate, you're talking about decades of a disaster. People are making less money now than they made 18 years ago and working harder. And I'm supposed to have a nice tone. Oh, hello, everybody. How's everything? We're going to bring back our jobs. We're going to take our country back. We're going to run it properly, folks, and you're going to be proud of your country again. And you know, they do research. Good. I like that. USA, USA, USA. I like that. I like that. So, California, good place. By the way, I'm going to play heavy in California, right? I think we can win it. You know, I mean, we get crowds like this all over the place. They didn't even give you a hangar. There's no hangar big enough. They don't even give hangars anymore. But it's amazing the kind of receptivity that we have. And every magazine and every newspaper, whether they like us or not, and I say us because honestly, folks, I'm a messenger. Am I doing a good job as a messenger, right? But I'm a messenger. And it's incredible what's happened. And people are saying it's the most incredible political phenomenon. I mean, they're actually saying that they've ever seen. One of the pundits told me the other day, and very strongly, said, you know, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. The job you've done is so incredible. You came from nowhere. You never did this before. You have fighting 17 governors and senators and professional politicians. I've been fighting them all my life. I like fighting them. But you've been fighting all of these people, and week after week, you're down to 16, you're down to 14, you're down to 12, you're down to 9, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they said there's never been anything like it. And they said it doesn't matter whether we win or lose. It's been incredible. It'll be in the history books forever. They said it's never happened. Bill O'Reilly said the single greatest political phenomena he's ever seen in his lifetime. And I'm saying, what the hell are they talking about? We have to win, right? We have to win. We didn't come this far to lose. So we're going to play California because I think Hillary is very weak. I think she's pathetic. I think she should be in jail for what she did with her emails, okay? She should be in jail. She should be in jail for what she did with those emails. Let me tell you, you know, she wants to play a little tough. You know, they go back and she polls it. Every word that she said was polled. I don't poll. I don't have teleprompters here, folks. I don't need teleprompters. It's called, like, up here, and it's called memory, and it's called other things. And I speak from here and from the heart, okay? Because that's what we need. And every single thing she said yesterday was polled. And her people wrote it out. And they don't see the teleprompters. And it makes it like, oh, she's saying it. A lot of people didn't see that. They said, oh, they didn't know that. She's reading a script. And she'd read a line. And then she has the phony audience. This is a real audience. She'd have the phony audience. And they have the guy in the back, and he's going, now. And they clap. And these pundits, if I ever did that, I'd be run out of town, believe me. They would get us. But for Hillary, it's okay. And what she said were so many lies. Like, he wants Japan to get nuclear weapons. I don't want them to get nuclear weapons. I want them to pay us the kind of money that we have to have so we don't lose money protecting Japan and Germany and Saudi Arabia. We have to do this. And South Korea. I mean, we're protecting South Korea from the maniac in the north, and we're protecting him. Now, he actually said, you know, I said this. They said, would you mind having negotiations with North Korea? No problem. No, who the hell cares? You have a negotiation. I'm not going there. But you have a negotiation. They say, we will never talk. We will never talk. How stupid are these people? They've been selling our country down the tubes. They've been spending money. Who knows if the talks work? Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. They probably will, if you want to know the truth. Then Putin said Donald Trump is a genius. He's going to be the next great leader of the United States. No, think of it. So they wanted me to disavow what he said. How dare you call me a genius? How dare you call me a genius, Vladimir? Never say a thing. Wouldn't it be nice if we actually got along with Russia? Wouldn't that be good? I mean, is that a bad thing? And I'm not talking from weakness, folks. I know all about negotiating from weakness and from strength. Hillary Clinton is a weak person. Hillary Clinton is totally scripted. Hillary Clinton is a thief, and Hillary Clinton should be in jail for what she did to our national security. I mean, the only problem is I like to run against her, if you want to know the truth. But she should be. What she's done is terrible. So, look, we have a situation. I can't believe it. Look at all the people out there trying to get in. Hello, everybody. Look at those people. Look at that. Look at all those people out there. You guys have all the goodwill. Why? They couldn't have pulled these fences a little bit further out? But you don't want them to come in. You have enough people here, right? See, that's the way life works. Life is vicious. So when we talk about the different attributes, I mean, you look at the word tone, but I'll use a different word. Bernie Sanders said that Hillary Clinton has bad judgment. She has bad judgment. You know, we're in a cyber world. This is now a cyber world. Russia is knocking us off. China is knocking us off. They're stealing so much. What China's doing with our intellectual property, stealing billions. We don't do anything about it during her regime. But you look at what's going on. So here is Hillary, all loused up with a simple email system. And, you know, you ask, why did she do it? I understand why she did it. Because she's a thief. That's why she did it. But I get why she did it. But talk about judgment. How do you have a president with that kind of bad judgment? She could have used the government stuff. She could have taken the government server. Assume everybody's listening to you. I always do. Every time I pick up a phone, I assume people are listening, you know. Now, you sue their ass off if they are. If you can find them, you drop a little lawsuit on them and you make them pay. Big league. But you know what? For her to do what she did puts our country at risk. She's Secretary of State. She's got people like Uma, who's Weiner, Anthony Weiner. She's the wife of Anthony Weiner. Now, how would you like Anthony Weiner to be having all these secrets? Well, guess what? She tells Anthony Weiner everything there is. I know Anthony Weiner. I don't want him knowing anything, folks, okay? And I never, ever want him to tweet me, right? Does anybody want him to tweet? No, I don't think so. No. She's married to Anthony Weiner. She goes home. Hey, look, folks, that's the way life works. She goes home. She tells him everything. Who the hell wants that? This is not right, all right? It's not right. Now, General Petraeus has suffered greatly. Many other people have suffered greatly for doing far less than what Hillary Clinton did. And you know what, folks? To me, as the woman just said, but she got away with it. It looks like she got away with it, unless I win. And everything will be fair, but we're going to have an attorney general, and the attorney general is going to take a look and see. Because, you know, there's a 5-year or a 6-year statute of limitations. So she really is running for some pretty important reasons for herself. Look, when somebody does something so wrong as that, they have to pay the consequences. She put our nation in difficulty. Did you see her IT specialist? He's taken the fifth. The word is he's ratting her out like you wouldn't believe it, but they want to try and save her. That's not the way the government is supposed to work. They're not supposed to be trying to save her. They're supposed to be doing the right thing. But the press, it never lets up, and it never follows that story. It never follows the real story. So do you remember in Iowa, I made a speech, and I said, you know, let's raise some money for our vets, you know? And I figured maybe we'd raise $500,000 or $1 million or $2 million or something. But let's raise. We end up raising almost $6 million, and I got bad publicity. Can you imagine? This can only happen to me, believe me. I end up raising I have more calls and more emails and more tweets at Real Donald Trump, everybody, at Real Donald Trump. It's actually amazing. You know, if I tweet something, CNN and Fox, all of a sudden they say, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has just made it. I'm sitting there tweeting, bing, bing, bing. Donald Trump has just issued a major statement. It's a weird deal going on here, folks, but we have a lot. You know, we have like almost 9 million on Twitter. We got a similar number on Facebook. On Instagram, like 1.5 million or something. We're soon going to be 20 million people. That's like owning the New York Times without the losses, right? No, it's pretty good. And then they say, you shouldn't use, you know who told me this, my opponents. They have 3 people. They say, you shouldn't use your Twitter. I say, why? That's like in golf, a long hitter. Don't use your driver. We'll use anything we have to win. We're going to win. We got to win. But it's true. So we raised almost $6 million. And the dishonest press, they are so dishonest. Not all of them, but many of them. They are so dishonest. If I would have done nothing, it would have been fine. I said, let's raise some money for the vets. But I'm still glad I did it, because I have gotten more credit from the vets and more thank yous from the vets. We gave it out to many, many groups. I don't even know how many. But, you know, they wake up and they get 100,000 in the mail. They get 150. They get 250. One of them got, I think, $1.1 million in the mail. And they're great. I mean, they're great. They're great people, and they appreciate it. So if they appreciate it, it's fine. But they put the negative spin on everything. No matter what we do. You know, it's funny. The New York Times puts me on what? Oh, get a medic, please. Medic. Okay? Okay, you just take it easy, darling. Take it easy. It's hot out here, right? Right over here, medic. Right over here. Thank you. We love you, man. We love you. Some of these people got here 5-6 hours ago. How's that? She's doing okay. She okay? We want to make sure she's okay. She was here for 5 hours, they say. 5 hours. Some of them here for 7-8 hours. Hi. Oh, we love you. Are you okay, honey? Give her a hand, everybody. Give her a hand. That's great. She's tougher than all of us. And look at the medics and look at the police. What a great job they do, right? Isn't it right? EMT. Give them a hand, by the way. Great job. Thank you, darling. All right, good. She looks like she's in good shape. Thank you very much. That's true, though. The police and the medics and the firemen and women and whatever, the job they do, and they're not appreciated in this country. They're going to start being appreciated again, folks. They're going to start. How's she good? She's good over there? Everything good? That's good. That's good. Thank you, honey. So, we're going to do things that haven't been done in a long time. We're going to start winning again. We don't win anymore. We don't win anymore. Even a report like this you see today, it was like a bombshell. They were expecting 150,000, maybe 200,000 jobs. Turns out to be 38,000. And they're bad jobs, folks. You know, everybody, even the other side says, we don't have good jobs anymore. Our good jobs are moving to Mexico, along with the companies that are moving there. They're moving to China, where China's making all our product. They keep devaluing their currency. You know, I had a meeting today, and I must have had 50 Chinese people there, people from China or formerly from China, and they all love Trump. And CNN was there, Jake Tapper was there, and we had an amazing time. They couldn't believe it. And John Dickerson, also a good guy, he was there from CBS. They were doing an interview. They looked outside. Who are all those people? They were people from China that are endorsing Trump. And they couldn't believe it. Nobody could believe it. And there was like love. And I don't blame the Chinese government, and I don't blame the Mexican government. I want our government to be smart. I want our government to get away with the kind of things they get away with. But we have leaders that don't have a clue. And Hillary Clinton's at the top of the list. She's incompetent, let's face it. First of all, she's always got problems. Whitewater, impeachment, lies. He didn't have sex with that woman. 2 months later, he's going, you ever see the clip? He didn't. Then all of a sudden. These are lying people. We don't need, folks, another 4 years of the Clintons. We don't need it. It's a mess. It's a mess. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a strong temperament, not that weak temperament. I don't like his temperament. I don't like his tone. Well, let me tell you, there's nobody with a better temperament than me. I have a temperament for winning. I've won all my life, and we're going to start winning for you, okay? Temperament is very important. It's very, very important. But we need strength. We don't need these weak people. That's all they do. They talk about, well, I think his temperament isn't good. You know, I guess they do polls. They say, how can we get Trump? I really believe I have the greatest temperament there is, and the temperament that this country needs at this time. Now, I could just say, you know, slough it off and say, oh, I have a wonderful temperament. I'm really a wonderful person. Look, let me tell you, I have a tough temperament, but we need a tough temperament. We need a tough temperament. Now, my temperament is totally controlled, so beautiful. I built an unbelievable company. I did so many great things. I mean, I just came in and I read about a school where the Clintons are involved, where they've gotten $16 million, and it's a scam. And I'm hearing, why aren't they sued? Why aren't they sued? They scammed the school. Why aren't they being sued? It's a big story, but, you know, these people don't want to talk about it. Temperament is a very important word. We need toughness in tone. We need toughness in temperament. And frankly, I honestly believe, and I really mean this, I think that Hillary Clinton is unfit to lead our country, certainly at this time. I think she's unfit. She doesn't have what it takes. You're going to go through 4 more years. I call her Obama light. I think it's going to be at least as bad and maybe worse. And think of what I said. They're scamming us with cyber. We're living in a cyber world. And here she is all screwed up with her emails. She doesn't know what the hell is going on. It's a mess. You talk about composure. You talk about temperament. You talk about all these things. Who would be so stupid to do what she did with her emails? I mean, who would be so stupid? So we are going to turn this country around. We are going to do things that are going to make you so proud of your president, but much more importantly, so proud of your country again. Because, you know, when people say, I deal with all these countries. I have great deals in all these countries. I have so many deals. And they laugh. They laugh at us. They say, what's going on? They don't even believe it. Even the people from China this morning, you'll see, because I think it's going to be on CNN, probably on CBS. You'll see. They're saying, no, Mr. Trump is right. He's right. They cannot believe what they get away with. I have the largest bank in the world from China, the largest bank in the world, massive bank. It's a tenant in one of my buildings. I know the people. I mean, they're sort of friends of mine. They tell me, we don't believe we get away with it. You know, they know me. I don't know if they know I'm going to be revealing this, maybe. But they say, we can't believe we get away with it. So we're going to turn it around. Now, a couple of things. We need strong borders. We've got to have borders. Either that or we don't have a country. 16,500 Border Patrol agents 2 weeks ago endorsed me. First time they've ever endorsed a presidential candidate. And I asked them, I said to them, I mean, what a perfect group to ask, as opposed to some consultant that wants to suck you dry with fees that doesn't know anything, right? They know less than that beautiful young woman standing there. They know less, okay? All they know is how to get fees. So I asked them when I was with them, I said, let me ask you, how important is the wall? Just tell me, how important is the wall? Not that I'm going back, because I'm not. But I feel better about it because they say, Mr. Trump, it's vital, especially in terms of stopping the drug traffic that's pouring through the borders. But a real wall, you ever see the wall they have? They take a pogo stick and they go right over the wall. They actually build a little ramp and they go over it with a car loaded up with drugs, and they come back over the same ramp. Not going to be any ramps with my wall, folks. It's going to be a serious wall. It's going to be a real deal wall. It's going to be way up there. It's going to be a big, beautiful wall. And you know what? Someday maybe they'll name it after Trump, but I'd much rather have a statue in Washington, D.C. Let's do a real good job. So look, so we're going to build that wall. Mexico is going to pay for the wall. Going to pay for it. We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion a year. $58 billion. That doesn't include the drugs that are pouring across the border. And yet we have companies moving into Mexico. They just took the World Golf Championship out of Miami, and they brought it into Mexico. And the people of Miami are furious. They brought it into Mexico. They signed like a 6-year deal where Mexico, they take everything. They take everything because we allow it to happen. But we're not going to allow it. As an example, I use the example of Carrier air conditioning in Indiana. You know, we won Indiana big. Remember, that was going to be the firewall for other people running. And it was a firewall. It was a firewall for me. I won in a landslide. Thank you, Bobby Knight, right? The great Bobby Knight. We love Bobby Knight. And others, by the way. I mean, we had incredible support. Lou Holtz came out, and so many different people came out, and they supported me. And I knew I was going to win Indiana. They kept saying, we're going to win Indiana. Let me tell you what I think. I think, and nobody else, let's say Ted Cruz won, he wouldn't be here right now. Let's say somebody else won, they wouldn't be here right now. They gave up, always give up in California as a Republican because they say you can't win. I think we can win. I think we can win. So we're going after California. We're going after the state of Washington. We're going after places that no other Republican goes after. Because, you know, we have a little bit of a tighter path. We have a few states that if we don't win them, it's over. Whereas the Democrats can lose numerous states and they can win. So we have a tighter path. But I'm not your typical person. And when we come out, Costa Mesa, we had 31,000 people. They hardly showed that because that was the day the kid was jumping on the police car, breaking the hell out of it. And he probably wasn't arrested. You know, some people arrest. You know, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, you know that. Now, who's tougher at the border than Sheriff Joe? Between that and the Border Patrol, but Sheriff Joe totally endorsed me, right? Nobody tougher than Sheriff Joe. But he told me, and I saw this, they had a couple of people protesting. They put those people in jail so fast, everyone else scattered in 2 seconds. I said, that's the way it has to be done. That's the way it has to be done. We need strength in our country. And I see it. But the thugs last night in San Jose, and then this Democrat mayor gets up. He said, well, I think it was Donald Trump. I don't even say, you know what I say now? When we have a protester inside, which isn't even very often, I say, be very gentle. Please don't hurt him. Take care of him. If he wants to shout, if he punches you in the face, smile as your nose is pouring blood out of it. Be very, very nice. We had a case where we had an African-American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what look at my African-American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So we have an African-American guy at one of the rallies a month ago. And he's sitting there behaving. And we had protesters inside the arena. And they were dressed in a Ku Klux Klan outfit, okay? And they're running around dressed as Ku Klux Klan. And the place is booing them, booing them. This African-American gets up, and man, he slugged these guys. He slugged them. And by that time, their hat was off, because it got ripped off as they were running up the stairs. But this guy, a great guy, I think he was a military guy for a long time, he slugged this guy wearing the Ku Klux Klan outfit. But by the time he got up to the top, you couldn't see it was a Ku Klux Klan outfit. So when the African-American cold-cocked this guy never knew what happened. Everybody thought the African-American was against me. And it was the opposite. He was like this great guy, military guy. We have tremendous African-American support. The reason is I'm going to bring jobs back to our country. We're going to bring jobs back. But when these sleazy people, these dishonest people who never show the crowds, they never, ever show the crowds, when they showed that event, it made it look like the white guy was on my side. The African-American guy said, I had enough. And nobody's going to run through an arena like that. And they reversed it, and it's a disgrace, okay? Let me tell you, while we're on the subject, we are going to bring jobs back to this country. We need our jobs. We're going to make it very expensive for companies to fire everybody and leave. You know, your area has lost 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs over a fairly short period of time. That's a lot of manufacturing jobs. Your crime rate is way the hell up. You know that. I mean, I have these statistics. By the way, they're that way all over the place. When I go to Pennsylvania, we won that in a landslide. When I go to Connecticut, landslide. Maryland, landslide. Rhode Island, landslide. Delaware, landslide. The week before that, we had New York, super landslide. You know what's nice? They know me in New York. They know me. We had 3 people running. I got 62%, won everything. I mean, I won so much, people couldn't even believe it. Way, way above even projections. I knew I was going to win. But isn't it nice, even for you, where the people that know me the best give me a tremendous vote of confidence, and we won it big league. And then you have these guys like Charles Krauthammer. Donald Trump is not at 50%. I got like 12 people running against me in some of these states, right? Ever notice that? Donald Trump. Here's a guy, Krauthammer. He would say, oh, so much. Mr. Trump will not run. This is the finest field of talent ever assembled in the history of the Republican Party. That was before I ran. I listened to Krauthammer say it's the finest group of talent ever assembled in the history of the Republican Party. I looked at my wife. I said, you know, maybe I shouldn't run. Except Krauthammer doesn't know what he's talking about. He's another one. He's overpaid. He's the one, you know, he was the big one for the war. Go into the war. Go into Iraq. Fight like hell. Lose thousands of lives. Spend $2 trillion. Spend $2 trillion. You know what we got? Nothing. You know what we did? We gave Iraq to Iran. And I've been against it. But with that being said, we're going to build our military. So powerful. So strong. Nobody's going to mess with us. Our military is depleted. Did you see those things on Fox and CNN where they had a sort of documentary on what's going on with our flyers, right? We have these great airmen. And what's going on with our equipment? Where one of the airmen said, oh, I used to be so proud. Now what they do for our fighters, our F-16s or F-18s, they have the fighters. They don't have parts. So they go into a plane graveyard. You know, that's where they dump the old planes. And they're stealing parts for our fighter jets. And they're stealing parts from museums where they show the fighter jets. They're going in and they're taking parts because they want to be able to continue to fly. This is the United States. Can you imagine them doing that? And then they spoke to these young pilots, these great guys, and they say, well, what do you think? Well, they're leaving. They're leaving. As soon as their term is up, they're leaving. And they say how sad it is. And they remember how great it was like 15 years ago when he started. This is the United States, folks, and we're never going to be doing that kind of thing again if I'm president. I tell you right now. I'll tell you right now. So we have a lot of things to do, and we're going to do things the right way. Hillary Clinton is not a talented person. She's not a natural. She wasn't meant for this job. She's greedy. She's greedy as hell. And that's, I think, the reason she wants it. But she doesn't have the talent for the job. She's not a natural for the job. And she's just not a natural talent. And honestly, folks, look, beyond me, if you choose Hillary Clinton, this country is going to die. It's going to die. She's not respected by other countries. When she goes, she won't ask. As an example, when I said Japan, look, you know, we may have to walk, but Japan, you got to pay up. You got to pay up. They're going to like me. They're going to pay up. And if they don't pay up, we have to walk. And you know what? They're going to have to defend themselves. That's okay. Okay? Now, I never said nukes. What I'm saying is they're going to have to defend themselves. You know, right now, we have to defend them from North Korea. If anything happens, we have to defend them. You know, though, and I say it to everybody, we defend them, but if something happens with us, we get attacked, Japan doesn't have to help us. Now think of it. That's our deal. Sergeant Bergdahl. We get Bergdahl. They get 5 of the greatest killers that they have. They've been after him for 9 years. I call him the 5-for-1 president. And that's the same thing with the Iran deal. We gave them $150 billion, and that's the only time we got our prisoners back. We shouldn't have even started a negotiation until we got those prisoners back. And not once did this stiff, he's a total stiff, John Kerry, not once did he get up from the bargaining table and say, sorry, folks, you take care of yourselves, leave the room, double up the sanctions. They would have called you within 24 hours. He gave up every single point. And by the way, the biggest loser in that deal, aside from us, is Israel. Israel is beside themselves over that deal. That deal is a disaster for Israel and a disaster for the Middle East, because you're going to have countries now start to arm up and arm up big. It's a disaster. This is the president that we have. And I believe that Hillary Clinton is going to be worse than Obama, okay? I believe she's got less talent than Obama. She has less natural ability than Obama. And I'm not saying he has much, because he doesn't. But he's got an agenda, folks, because he has to have an agenda. Because nobody can be so stupid, and nobody can make deals like this guy's making. Now, remember this. Remember this. Obama's been talking lately. He's been talking about Donald Trump. And normally I wouldn't want to attack the president. I wouldn't want to say bad. I'd rather not. But once he speaks, like Bill Clinton, he started speaking. Now he's been very quiet lately. Very quiet. But you know what? He started speaking. Once they attack, then we're allowed. So he's going to go out and campaign for Hillary. By the way, he doesn't like Hillary, and Hillary hates Obama. You know that. She's hated him for years. Obama called Bill Clinton a racist. Bill Clinton hates Obama. And I know that for personal fact. But he hates Obama, hates him. The biggest surprise to me is that he made the speech at the convention for him, honestly, because he hates Obama. Hillary Clinton can't stand Obama. But now Hillary will do anything he says. You know why? She doesn't want to go to jail. Do you notice? The president, all of a sudden, they were going to disassociate themselves from the president. All of a sudden, anything he wants, she'll do. Because it seems like they're protecting her. Let's take the word seems out, okay? They are protecting her from going to jail. And she doesn't want to anger the president by saying, I disagree with you on this. So she agrees with just about every single thing that he wants to do. Yes, sir. No, sir. I think she should start calling him sir. Okay? And that's what's happening, folks. We're going to have a whole different thing. Remember this about Obama. I always thought one thing. I never thought he'd be a good president. I thought he'd be a great, really, healer. I thought he'd bring the country together. I thought he was going to be a good cheerleader. He's been a disaster cheerleader. No, I know what she said. It's, hey, a lot of people say that, by the way. But I thought he'd bring the country together. He can't bring the country together. It's not there. He's brought the country and he's divided the country. Wealthy, less than wealthy, white, black. He's absolutely been the great divider. He's been a terrible president. Hillary Clinton will be worse, believe me. She's going to be worse. She's going to be worse. She has a chance of being far worse. I mean, look at the deals. Look at the Libya deal. Look at it. And you know who has that great Libyan oil? It's among the finest oils in the world, right? It's high up. It's sweet. It is one of the fine oils in the world. You know who has it now? ISIS has it. ISIS. Without that raid, you don't have Benghazi. I met with the fiancée of the ambassador who was killed yesterday. She's supporting Trump, a very nice woman. And she tells me stories about Hillary that are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Horrible stories about Hillary. I mean, I said, are you sure you're supporting me? Because I assumed she'd be like on the Democrat side. And she said, no, I'm supporting you. But she told me stories about Hillary that are horrible. And she said the ambassador was like a great guy. And the death they died, what they went through, was supposed to be beyond comprehension, including the other 3 young people. And remember the ads, the phony ads with Hillary? Who do you want answering your phone at 3 o'clock in the morning? She was sleeping. She was sound asleep, or who knows what she was doing, but she didn't answer the phone. I say she was sleeping. I say she was sleeping because she's got no energy. I say she was sleeping, all right? I say it was a terrible thing. And Benghazi has never really been picked up like it should be picked up because the press has never picked it up. So here's the story, folks. It's an honor that you're here in this kind of heat. I know a number of you went down. I love you all. But I'll tell you what, you're going to be so happy, so proud. You've got to go out on June 7th. You've got to go out. You've got to go out. You've got to vote. Because we're sending a mandate. That's a mandate. We already won. And we're now ahead by millions and millions of votes above the people that came in second. I won't even tell you who it is. But we're ahead by millions of votes. But the more we have and the bigger the mandate we have, the stronger the movement is going to be. And then most importantly, get every one of your friends. And in November, you have to go and vote. I'll be back. But in November, you have to go and vote. Let me just tell you, we're going to start winning again. We're going to win with our military, and we are going to knock the hell out of ISIS because we have no choice. No choice. And it's going to go a lot faster and a lot easier than people understand. We're going to knock the hell out of them. We're going to have strong borders. We're going to have the wall. We're going to be proud of our country again. We're going to make great trade deals. We're going to get rid of Common Core, bring education locally. We're going to repeal Obamacare. 60%, think of it in Texas, 60%, Blue Cross Blue Shield, 60% increase, 60. And it's going to be worse than that for other sections. November 1st, they have to announce it. Worse. And don't let them take that November 1st announcement and make it December. Because that alone will destroy their chances of winning the presidency. Remember, don't let that happen because they're trying to do it. They want to have a later announcement date. So we're going to start winning with so many different elements of life and of our country. We're going to save our Second Amendment. Hillary Clinton wants to abolish it, believe me. She wants to abolish our Second Amendment. We're going to save our Second Amendment. And we're going to win. We're going to win at every single level. I often joke, I have fun, but it's really not joking, it's fact. Where I say we're going to win, we're going to win so much. Friends of mine, I have 3 or 4 friends, great friends in the audience, and I say, they're going to come see me at the White House, Mr. President. Sir, we're winning too much. The people of California, sir, are tired of winning. They don't want to win so damn much, Mr. President. Please Please stop this winning. We're not used to it as a country. We're used to losing all the time. We can't handle it. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry. We're going to win, win, win. We're going to win with trade. We're going to win with military. We're going to win by getting rid of Obamacare and replacing it. We're going to win at the border. We're going to get the wall. We're going to let people come into our country, but they're coming in legally, and they're going to come in, a lot of them. But they're coming in legally. We're going to win so much, and we are going to make America great again. I say greater than ever before. Remember this, folks. America first. We don't put America first. We have these horrible, horrible trade negotiators. I actually think they're not as stupid as people think. I think that they actually want to help everybody else. They want to help everybody but our country. We are going to have a policy of America first. Make America great again. We will do it. Get out on the 7th and vote, and boy, you better vote in November. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
In recent years, this country has gone to hell. And the crack's getting bigger on the side of that Liberty Bell. Well, Clinton, Obama, and the Democratic crew sure did a number on me and you. It wasn't my vote, you can blame yourselves for that. But we got a chance to turn things around if you get your butt up off the ground and understand we're all gonna have to work. This big old country was built on sweat, and if we're gonna make it great again, you're gonna get wet. But the first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. And to hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, we'll all go, and the wall will get built by Mexico. But first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. He understands the working man, tells the truth that we can understand. If you don't like it, you can all just kiss our ass. Kiss our ass. He pays his own way, don't take no crap. Wanna bring back country, get rid of rap. And if nothing else, we can all thank Donald for that. Thank you, Donald. Vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. To hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, we'll all go, and the wall will get built by Mexico. But the first thing first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Well, little Marco and Lion Ted, it's time to go home and crawl in bed. The campaign's over and the big fat ladies sing. And Hillary Clinton don't stand a chance with her preacher hair and her old man pants. Take Bill home, good God, he's getting old. Now let's vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Yeah, to hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, baby, we'll all go, and the wall getting built by Mexico. Well, first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Jesus says, vote for Trump.